Hapless teenagers beset by demons in the woods. A strange new drug that turns art into murder. A can't beat a deal on a new house with a horrifying past. A video game that might usher in the apocalypse. From the demented mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires, Shadow Play, and Murder Virus, comes Volume 4, collecting Baker's no sleep work along with several never-before-published short stories. This 99-cent volume also includes the opening chapter of the author's forthcoming teenage giallo novel, Black Gloves and Broken Hearts, due out later this year.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Presents Slasher Party. My name is Sean.
I'm Missy.
And joining us, I would have to say, Ivy, if there's anyone that I know that I would call a slasher expert, it would be you. So author extraordinaire Ivy Tholen, welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here, especially for slashers. Yay.
And what a slasher. Like this movie. So we're going to talk about Adam Green's Hatchet 1 and 2. And this is a movie this is really his first movie. He's got one other one called Coffee and Donuts. That's a full length, but I don't know anybody that's seen it or how to even get a hold of it. But so Hatchet came out in 2006. And here's the tagline. It's not a remake, it's not a sequel, and it's not based on a Japanese one. So that's pretty much a mission statement in 2006, because that's all there was for the most part. And this is old school American horror, like it says on the DVD case. Victor Crowley is the eventually titular slasher icon. And I just think these are just such a good time. So, Missy, I'm really glad that you suggested this. And Ivy, I'm glad that you're joining us. And Missy, since you suggested this, why don't you talk about Hatchet and your history with it?
I mean, I remember when it first came out, going to Best Buy and buying it on DVD, because it was 2006. We couldn't just stream it on our TVs or anything like that. And brand new, it was like $12 at Best Buy. I don't remember what put it on my radar. It was probably Fangoria or my cousin. But I remember being excited that it was coming out and telling you about it immediately. I felt like these were Adam Green's love letters to people who love 80s horror from somebody who loves it too, which is what always made it special for me. I love all kinds of slashers, but these are probably my favorite because of that. Because I feel like he's one of us. He knows what we like, what we care about. There's no CGI in this movie except to like erase wires and cameras. But all the gore effects are practical. The movies are full of fun horror icons that we love to see, like Kane Hodder and Tony Todd and Robert Englund, Danielle Harris. But he leans into the campiness. The gore is way, way over the top. All the deaths are inventive and fun and spraying geysers of blood everywhere. I read somewhere that he used in the first Hatchet, I think I saw this on IMDb, they used 55 gallons of fake blood. Wow. In the second Hatchet, they more than doubled it and used 136, I think.
Wow.
136 gallons of fake blood for the second one. It's got this snarky humor that, like, it points out the tropes while winking at the audience. And even though the MPAA screwed him, he still made the movies he wanted to make, and I think they're a blast. And unfortunately, like, no one has heard of them. Like, I've been telling people about this series for years, and a lot of people have not seen it, even hardcore horror fans,
I had heard of them. I had never seen them.
which blows my mind.
But they're not what I thought they were. I thought that they were sort of torture porny because of the time they came out. And I saw the cover and I was like, and especially by 2006, I had no desire to watch any of that kind of stuff. But I wasn't a huge fan of OO's horror in general. So I skipped out on it because I didn't know what it was. And then you told me to watch it. I put it on and I went, oh no, this is awesome.
I'm so glad. But I can totally see why you thought that, especially from the first cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's dark, it's black, it's just got the big hatchet on it.
If I had known that they were slasher comedies, I would have watched them back then. And I probably would have followed them as they were released.
So you had not seen them, Ivy, until now, and so you watched 1 and 2. First question: did you have a favorite out of the two of those films? And I guess B, do you think that this? I think you and I and Missy as well. Although Missy, you may be a little bit more forgiving. I think I feel like we have a very dismissive view of the 2000s in general. Yes. for horror. Do you think that this might have like given you something to like hold on to and like get you like maybe made you feel better about the decade in general?
Yeah, actually. Something this like, I don't know, he set out to make an homage to these old movies that we all love in the same way that they made them, and I think he succeeded. I watched 1 and 2 like a week ago, and then I actually watched 1 again today, and I watched the YouTube channel Dead Meat. I watched their kill count on it just to kind of get. So if I have facts, that's where I got them from.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, 2006. The next one doesn't come out until 2010.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this movie is it's of that decade. It looks like a movie. I think the only thing that's making me not be like totally on board with it is I just hate the aesthetics of the time.
Yeah, it's rough.
Thing. It's kind of like Freddy versus Jason. Freddy versus Jason was made around, the same-ish time, and it has the same aesthetic, and it makes me mad. If you took that same movie and said it and it looked a little bit better, I probably wouldn't dislike it as much as I do. I like it. I just don't like it as much as I want to. But this one has the same thing going on. It holds me back just a little bit. I think if it was made today or even if they set it in the 70s or something crazy, I think any other aesthetic, I would have been way, way into this. As it is, I'm only way into it.
Did you have a favorite between 1 and 2?
Originally, I thought 2 was my favorite. Watching them back again, I did like 1 more. But I do like 2 because there's a lot of lore surrounding Victor Crowley. And they really get into it and solidify it in part 2. And I love lore. I love that kind of stuff. And he did it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Building on the first one.
He did. I feel like they were written like together because you get like a little bit of the lore in the first one. And so I think one of the things about these movies, like I know 1 and 2 were not filmed back to back because there's a huge gap of time. He did other projects. And the main actress is replaced. However, I'd never seen 2 before. I had seen 1 going back to 2006. I also bought it at Best Buy when it came out, probably because Missy recommended it to me. And I will say that so 1 ends so fucking abruptly, and 2 begins exactly where it ends, right? And I haven't seen 3 either, but I watched a little bit of 3. Like, so right now, 2 and 3 are streaming included on Prime. So I watched them there. And last week when I watched 2 for the first time, I let it roll into 3 just for the first 10 minutes because I wanted to see, because I was like, oh, I saw it also has an abrupt ending. And I wanted to see if it was going to do the same thing. And it does. So I think his trick, and I think it's a really fucking smart trick. He films whatever he films, he chops off the last 5 or 10 minutes, and that's the beginning of the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that that's so brilliant, and it helps really make it, and the first three movies are one like 24-hour or 48-hour period. And so in the first one with the lore, you get the tour guides completely, he gives you a little bit of the lore, and then your later Mary Beth like corrects him and gives you the actual story. And then in two, you get a whole different perspective on the lore, and it really just opens it up to the supernatural. And it's all, the genius of moving the cabin in the woods slasher to the shack in the bio is you get voodoo and supernatural shit that's a little bit easier to explain. Not easier, but I mean, I always say, and I know Missy's going to roll her eyes, but I always say one of the things I love about Adam Marcus's Jason Goes to Hell is like he puts the fucking Necronomicon in the mom's house. So it's like, why did Jason come back as a zombie in part 6? Because the mom had the Necronomicon. How'd she get that? Who fucking cares? Brilliant. So, they had to like go back and figure something out. Well, I guess they didn't have to, but he did. He took the time to go back and figure something out to explain it. Whereas, those movies are just kind of like the Fridays. The weakness is that they make them up as they go along for the most part. He figured this shit out beforehand, and it really helps carry you through the movies. And it just makes for a really delightful experience, I feel like.
Or if he didn't, he watched them again and built the lore off of what he had made. A lot of the time with these things, all they need to do is just watch the movie before.
Right.
I know.
Some of them it seems like nobody wants to just watch the movie that came first, but either way he did it a very good job of it. Because I did the exact same thing you did. I also watched it on Prime, and from whenever 2 started, it started playing 3, and I got sucked into it. I had to turn it off because I wanted to watch it. If you talk about the other ones, I wanted to watch it a little closer to when you do that. But I did have to like pull myself away from it. So I'm invested now. I'm sucked in.
Good.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to watch 3 in its entirety.
Well, and they're very consistent because they're all written by Adam Green, and he directed all of them except part 3.
Right.
And for the most part, even the cast stays the same, with the exception of Mary Beth, who changes. I actually I looked into that a little bit today. I was digging around on IMDb, and apparently Danielle Harris auditioned for the part of Mary Beth for the first movie, but
Really?
Adam Green chose not to cast her because he didn't want to just be accused of putting her in the lead role because she was an iconic horror actress. So he chose Amara Zaragoza. But then she didn't want to continue with them, and he changed his mind with the sequels, thinking that Danielle Harris would be a benefit instead.
It's so fucking weird.
That's a weird reason not to cast Danielle Harris, because people know who she is.
I mean, especially when you cast Kane Hodder as a slasher, right? So he's not shy about using icons, obviously.
You know what I learned? The other guy in the boat, Mary Beth's brother, that's one of the guys from Blair Witch.
Really?
Yes.
Is that why he looked familiar?
I knew he looked familiar.
Yes,
oh
I did
God.
too. I didn't know it. When I was watching the kill count video.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Josh from Blair Witch. It's the taller guy.
Okay.
I'm describing.
He's pretty funny, actually. I like the whole exchange. I like the whole exchange with him and Robert Englund as the father. I think it's fucking hysterical. Why can't you be more like your sister? I mean, that is the one thing, and I don't want to sound like I'm picking on Danielle Harris, because I'm not, and I don't know anything about Amara Zaragoza. I've apparently seen her. I've seen her in other things because I've looked at her IMDb, and there's things she's been in that I've seen, but I don't remember her. But I will say I did notice. So I feel like, Missy, you made the comment to me when I first told you, like, yeah, I'm not really with the recasting, I think that Amara Zaragoza was better, and you were like, yeah, I don't know about her like accent that kind of comes and goes. I never noticed she had an act. She tried to do an accent before.
It is the worst thing
Well, and
in
it's only in it twice, I think. And here's what I think, because there's no sign of it, and then all of a sudden there's a scene where it's kind of there, and I was like, wait, what? I never even noticed that before. I think I think Adam Green probably had issues with her doing the accent because it wasn't good, and so there were different takes where they used the accent and didn't use the accent. And I think most of them lined up with not using the accent. And I think the two roughly times that I heard it, because
that's a good guess.
it's minimal, but I have to think that they were like, this take is better and we're going to use it, but it's got the accent. But I had not noticed it until you said that. Like, I just thought she played it completely straight, which I didn't even think is weird considering, like, England and the Sun sound like backwood,
Yeah.
we've got the total backwoods kind of accent. But then again, we don't know, did she go to college in New York or whatever, not like Jenna that didn't go to NYU.
Good Lord.
But that whenever I saw Danielle Harris was playing the character, and I did not pick up that it was the same character, I had to look it up because I was like, is this
Same.
supposed to be? But when I saw Danielle Harris, I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to hear that accent. I am from Houston. I understand Southern accents. That is not how people talk. That's not even how people in Louisiana talk. Like, that's not what a Louisiana accent sounds like, much less a backwoods Louisiana accent. It was very strange. And I looked it up and she's from Kansas.
Oh
So
man.
yeah,
Okay.
so definitely she was putting something on and I just did not enjoy it personally.
She
Taking me out of the movie. It really did.
she plays the character though as she's got like a little bit of brooding
Yeah.
energy, and I just feel like when she pulls the gun, I totally buy it. Like, it makes perfect sense. And I think she does a really good job too, like at the end of the boat where she starts crying about seeing her father dead. Like, I actually was like, I actually think that's like pretty good. And I'm pretty sure in two, since it starts exactly in the boat, right, where the first one leaves off, she's in the beginning, and then when it switches, it's Danielle Harris. And that was like you, Ivy. I was like, wait, what just happened? Like,
She's in the beginning of two, she is?
I think she is. I didn't get I was going to rewatch it right before we rolled. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the very beginning of two had to have been filmed at the exact same time as one. Like, the way that abrupt, because one ends so fucking abruptly. Like, it literally just goes dark. You're like, wait, what? So I think that's it. And then you see her on the street.
It ends with Victor like growling in the camera.
Yeah. Well, because she reaches for the hand, right? And then she comes
Right.
up and it's Ben is
Victor.
laying there, writhing in agony, missing an arm, and Victor's, like growling and holding the arm. And it just boom. And then I believe two picks up exactly there. So I don't know. I feel like Danielle Harris, like, she didn't convey the same brooding energy to me at all. She just seemed like she played it like a kind of damaged little girl the whole time.
It reminded me of the switch in Elm Street with Patricia Arquette to Tuesday Night. It was just like a different character all of a sudden, and the actress didn't look anything like the original actress. I could feel that there. It just, the parallel. I don't know, but I don't know. I prefer Danielle, and Danielle had a bad accent too, but I was more bad from her.
She does a good job. I just feel like it undermines the setup of the character.
Yeah.
A little bit for me. But then, I mean, once two gets going, I mean, right away she goes to Tony Todd and you realize, like, oh, Tony Todd's going to be in the whole fucking movie this time.
Yep.
I got super excited.
And then like I saw AJ Bowen and I got super excited because I'm a big fan of him. And then there's even that, like, you get Perry Shen comes back as the twin brother, super weird. And you get the weird, like, mention of another movie from 2006, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Like, I was like, wait, what is going on here?
See, going back to what you were saying about Danielle, I like her better too, but I always thought that it was like, because there are certain things he does in this movie that in these movies that feel like we're in on the joke. I always thought it was making a nod at like what they did with Elm Street when they recast Kristen.
Oh, you did think it was intentional.
Like I always thought it was intentional.
And you think it was specifically a nod at that Elm Street recasting?
Well, I mean, they've done that in other movies too.
Okay, okay. So just in
Like
general, like the
just
genre
like
trope of recasting.
right, like this happens.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I mean, I don't know that that was the reason. I might be giving
Um,
credit to something that was just a happy accident,
It
but
fits with a sense of humor.
yeah. Especially, I mean, if the actress didn't want to do it, like play into it.
right.
I queued up two. It is Danielle at the beginning.
Is it?
They don't recycle any footage. It's
Yeah, I didn't think
done.
they did.
Okay.
Mm-mm. And they don't even show the guy at all. I completely forgot he was in he was supposed to be in the boat, but they don't show him.
Oh,
It is Danielle. They
okay.
reshot some stuff.
Okay. Thank you for doing that because I remembered it. I think just because when two goes to three, I think it is very obvious that like it also has the abrupt ending and it's obviously filmed it at the same time. So, okay. So I was incorrect. So thank you. That Missy, that really makes now I'm even looking at her performance as like part of the gag a little bit.
Hmm.
And if it
That's,
Yeah,
isn't intentional, it does work on that level.
yeah.
right. And I feel like that's like with the kind of humor he put into it, like think about the ending of part one, because I also was just watching it again while I ate dinner. The ending of part one with her and Ben in the boat and the music that's playing, it totally sounds like the end of the original Friday the 13th.
Oh
It's not
yeah.
the same music, but it's on purpose.
Yeah, it's on purpose. I mean, like as soon as you see them in the boat and he's like, "Hey, we're alive." I'm like, "Oh
Right,
no, you're not," because we know what's about to happen, right? Because it's a riff
right.
on Friday. If nothing else, this is a love. I mean, it's a love letter to that genre, like you said,
Mhm.
but it's also a love letter to Friday the 13th.
And there are a
Hmm.
lot of movies that are, I'm going to say, inspired by, and put that in little bunny ears, rip-offs of Friday the 13th. There's a lot of movies that are inspired by Friday the 13th. And this one is so clearly inspired by Friday the 13th, but he did so many things different
Yeah,
that you don't care that they stole so much from
Right.
Friday the 13th. I think one of the things that got me the most was the difference between Jason and Victor, the way Victor moves, how he's fast and he pops up out of nowhere. And
Hmm.
at times he almost looks like he's stop motion. I don't know
Oh,
what
yeah.
it is
I was going to
Yeah.
ask you
movement.
guys. He looks like he's either on fast forward or stop motion. The way
Yeah,
he
there looks
moves.
like there's something, and you would never get that from Jason. And it's very creative. He took the playground of like Crystal Lake and put something brand new in it, and it's really
Hmm.
cool the way he did it. I've never seen one of the Friday like ripoffs do that in this way. They're
No.
always the slow plotting killer in the woods.
Yep.
Hmm.
And so if you're gonna be inspired by something, do your own thing.
Yeah. And he does. And that's where like I think you can legitimately classify what this movie does, this franchise does as homage
Yeah.
as opposed to imitation. Because he's
Yeah.
got his own
Yeah.
thing. He did his own work, but he loves, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah. But something like In a Violent Nature came out this year. There is a universe where somebody actually bought that and put Jason in it and just plopped him in and it changes nothing. Like
Yeah.
it
Right.
would be a very cool angle on a Friday the 13th movie. But there's nothing in that's other than the way it's shot. There's nothing in that couldn't be a Friday the 13th movie. He's exactly like Jason. You just plop him in. This isn't the case here. This is fun. He's
Yeah.
he's a little goofy and he's weird, kind of creepy movements. I don't know. I really liked him.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
and there's a like Missy, would you say that I feel like I feel for him?
Yeah. Like I feel like he's a sympathetic slasher,
Yeah.
just like Jason was. I mean, you felt bad for him too. He was a little kid that was
don't know that I ever felt bad for
No,
Jason.
I
I
always
mean,
Oh,
did.
I
it
did.
sucks that he
Yeah.
drowned, but I mean, like, really? I don't know. I
I
don't
always
know.
did, but
Brainwashed by his crazy mother. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
sad. He watched his mom die. Like, that's
hey,
Yeah,
he's
sad.
but by
just a
that point,
kid.
he was already dead. So what are you doing here anyway, kid?
But if you watch Freddy versus Jason, he is sympathetic in that one whenever you compare him
Mhm.
next to Freddy.
I don't remember that, but
I was gonna say I doubt Sean remembers that movie
I've seen that
well.
movie twice, and I just don't like it.
Uh, but he does. He comes off as sympathetic in that movie. And after seeing it in that light, I always see Jason as sympathetic now. And I see Victor as sympathetic.
Mhm.
It's a horrible, horrible way to die. And then to get caught in the night you died. Oh.
Well, and so therein also lies a little bit of like, is like I think Mary Beth or somebody says in the first one, he's going to kill anybody that comes near him because he's trapped in that night. So to him,
Mhm.
every person he encounters is trying to hurt him. So
Mhm.
it's not
Right.
even like, so okay, you got Art is the current icon, and he just kills because he fucking there. We don't even know what the reason is. It's not like he just it's funny to him, or
Mhm.
I don't even fucking know. Whatever. Jason, it's like why does a ball roll? Because there's a scientific equation that says mass and force and whatever. That's what Jason is. There is no, I don't think there's an agenda. There's nothing. I mean, he just moves forward and kills everything in his path. But Victor is like, he's trapped in his trauma. So it becomes like okay, I kind of understand. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near him. Uh, you know, doesn't make it okay, but it makes it more okay than just somebody that's just killing just to kill.
You're
Oh,
talking
and
me into liking these more.
that's usually what happens.
Yeah,
We
it
always
is.
gain more of an appreciation, even if it was a movie we didn't like when we
Yeah,
discuss it. Even if it was something we didn't like, we'll usually come away from it with more respect.
except for Exorcist 3. Nothing saving that. Um, Speaking of art, Missy, you mentioned to me, I think this is a very interesting observation. Talk about what you said to me about kind of the way the violence in these
Mhm.
movies compared to Terrifier.
Well, I've always referred these to people, but I've been doing it a lot more lately with the popularity of the Terrifier movies and friends that have liked those movies, because I feel like Damien Leone is using a very similar format to what Adam Green does. And Adam Green was doing it first, yet they their slashers didn't get the same recognition. Um, and maybe it's just because Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, is so fucking charismatic that people just latched on to Art. But they're both using extremely over the top
Mhm.
uh, violence with practical gore effects. But Damien Leone leans into the mean, and Adam Green leans into like the campiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being it's super over the top violence, but I mean everything's spewing geysers of blood. And I mean I like both, and I think it's cool that they went in such different directions, and I love seeing horror succeed
Yes.
anytime, but I prefer the Adam Green route. Like I like the camp better.
Ivy, how do you feel about that observation, and do you agree? And which you like better?
I like the Hatchet movies, but I have a very complicated relationship with the Terrifier movies.
So
They're
do I.
starting to grow on me a little bit more, but I don't know. I have no idea. But I do think they're very mean and they're very mean-spirited. And I think that the reason people are latching onto it is because people nowadays want mean-spirited horror. I think that that's it kind of it's reflecting on like the rest of the world around us. I just think that that's the tone of those is the reason why. Plus, Art the Clown. But I think that's something about that is speaking to people. This movie is not that, it is campier and it's easier to watch. Terrifier is not easy to watch, even if it's
No.
like, even the scenes where there's nothing going on, Terrifier is not easy to watch, which is probably exactly what they're going for. This one is watchable, even though the gore and the effects are just as grotesque. Yeah, I don't know. I think this deserves a resurgence if people are into Terrifier. I don't know why this wouldn't speak to them, especially the first one, because the first one's so
Right.
I agree 100%.
Me too.
I'll take so in the first one, the actress Patrika Darbo, she plays Richard Reel's wife. So they're kind of this like middle-aged Wisconsin couple that are in amongst all these, that like the beautiful people of, well, I mean, Joel Murray's not a beautiful person. I love Joel Murray. No offense, Joel Murray, if you're listening, which you're not, but her death is by far my favorite death. And it is the most like a Terrifier death because Victor Crowley fucking catches her from behind and tears her jaw, but until it's like her whole, like her jaws are like horizontal from one another. And there's just this spewing hole with this like kind
The
of
tongue.
the tongue.
right.
It is so fucking grotesque, but there's not a moment it feels wrong or like there's just something about Terrifier that like and I do like them. I don't know that it's a good thing that they exist and are so popular. Like I just don't know. I just don't know. No offense to Damien.
I'm dreading the hundreds of Terrifier ripoffs. I'm dreading those because Damien does things right
Yeah. Well said.
and I don't know that the eventual ripoffs, I don't know if they're going to be able to do what Damien does.
Yeah, and how they'll maybe up the ante as far as like the kind of just the malevolence. But the kills in the Hatchet movies are just as over the top and insane as Terrifier.
It does body ripping apart very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Really, a lot of this stuff, I feel the same way about Terrifier. If you did the things to these people, it wouldn't look the way that they do these in the movies. But there's something about like the way, that's not what somebody's head getting ripped apart. I just refuse to believe an actual head like that. You know what I mean? But the way that they do it, it's realistic for the world they're living in. And I feel like the Terrifier movies do the exact same thing, where once I realized that, I was able to sit through the gore and actually watch it, because before I was thinking it was so realistic. And then I started watching and I was like, no, this is really, really, really good special effects makeup.
Yeah.
It doesn't look real, but it fits the Terrifier world, and the gore in this fits this world. And it's a similar flavor.
Yeah, definitely. So that would be my favorite kill, the Patrika Darbo. Missy, favorite kill in either one or two?
In watching it again, I actually really love that one too. The Shannon getting her face ripped in half. But I also from the first one, Jenna, who gets impaled by a sheller. Impaled on a shovel, and the belt sander to the face.
Yeah, and I kind of, I don't know. This movie also does something that most 2000s movies, it does something different. A lot of 2000s movies make you hate everybody. So I'm like, I don't know. It feels like it just feels weird because I'm like, there's nobody I'm rooting for. So yeah, it's great to see him get picked off, but I mean, they're all shit. And this movie doesn't do this. And I think Jenna might be the one where it's either her or Joel Murray, but I feel like he dies so fast. Although I guess he doesn't. I don't know. Ivy, favorite kill in either movie?
Kenny from the Cosby Show, Bud, getting his arms ripped off and then having him beaten into a grave. He picks him up and just flings his body into a grave. Great. Awesome. Seriously,
so good.
The way that the body's ripping and the head ripping, it's just done so it's so cool.
It is. I love the stretchiness. Like when any of these things are being separated, you can see the stretchiness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh well, the kill. Is it? Who is it that he? Oh, the brother, the guy from Blair Witch. Doesn't
Mhm.
he like pulls his fucking like basically
Yeah.
splits his
Yep.
torso, right? Completely fucking insane.
Yeah.
And we should say, heading the makeup department or the special effects department is John Carl. I think it's Butchler. I never really knew how to say his name, but he's done effects for so many fucking movies, and he's also actually in this movie as what is it, Jack Cracker or whatever, the guy that drinks his own piss, which is a joke that recurs in the second one too, and I thought was amazing. Here, drink this. Oh my god, it's so funny. But he's done effects like From Beyond. He worked with Stuart Gordon, Reanimator. He did Friday the 13th, New Blood. Um,
Oh, he died. Died in 2019.
oh
Oh,
my
wow.
God, you're right. Oh
He was not
shit.
old either. He was only 66.
Oh wow, that sucks. I feel like I probably knew that at the time and forgot about it. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, I shouldn't say that's amazing. His career is amazing.
Yes.
But I mean, the effects, they're just fucking outstanding.
Oh, he directed Friday the 13th, The New Blood.
That's right. Oh
Okay.
man, I
And
feel
Ghoulies
bad.
Go to College.
Sean, did you catch in part two? Because Ivy, I don't know if you've seen Frozen, but
No.
I know Sean has. Um, did you catch in part two the girl from Frozen is on the TV in Reverend Zombie's shop talking about her lawsuit against the ski resort?
Are you fucking kidding me
Oh,
right
I
now?
love stuff like
No,
that.
Oh,
it's
Oh,
oh
I
my
love
God,
stuff like that. I love it.
I know.
that is
It's
amazing.
cool. It's cool.
Ivy, have you
Thank you
seen
for
that
saying
movie?
No, I haven't seen it. The Hatchet
Dude,
was my first movie of his that I had seen.
it will fuck you up. Like I was
Yeah,
not
well,
prepared for it. Is just so simple and
it's
so
great, but
serious. I mean, it is really, really,
Oh, is it
really hard to
actually
watch.
scary?
it's
Well,
no, it's not gory. It's
it's
bleak and
three college
depressing.
kids stuck on a ski lift over a weekend during a storm.
Oh God.
It is
In the winter,
fucked.
in the snow. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
it's so
And
fucked
it'll
up.
fuck you up. Like it stays with you.
Oh
And like both Missy and our friend John warned me about this, and it wasn't until I think in
I will
2011
never
John.
ride one of those things again.
No, John came
Never.
out and showed it to me, and I just remember when it was over, he was like, "I told you." I'm like, "God damn!" Like I had no idea. You wouldn't think the tone of that movie could come from the guy that did these movies,
Right.
but
That's
it is.
interesting.
And it's not bloody at all. Most of the movie is three people stuck on a ski lift.
Yeah. Oh God.
But
Well,
it'll
I don't
fuck you
know.
up.
I don't know that it's not bloody at all, but it's
Well,
not.
it's not this.
Yeah, no, it's not this. And it's a funny thing is like this has 55 gallons of fake blood, right? Or even the second one with 136 gallons, and they're still comical. That one has maybe a little bit of fake blood, and it like is harrowing, I feel like.
Yeah, it
So
scars you for life.
Adam Green is talented as fuck, man. I hope
I
he
love
does a
Adam
lot
Green.
Oh,
more.
I want to be scarred for life.
But it's a good scarring. It's not like an
Yeah.
irreversible scarring for life.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
But you won't ride one of those things again. If you ever
I've
have.
never seen snow, so
just stay away from
okay.
snow. Stay
Yeah,
away.
stay away from snow. You'll be okay.
It's dangerous.
I've done well so far at that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to be nowhere. I live in a land where it's like 125 degrees outside in the summer, and that's good for me.
Oh, I'd die.
Yeah, I would too. Closing thoughts on Hatchet 1 and 2.
I'm glad I watched it. Thank you for suggesting it.
I'm glad you dug it.
I'm glad you dug it too. And to anybody listening to us who has not seen the Hatchet movies, check them out. Check out Adam Green's other stuff too. Because Frozen, the ski lift one, not the Disney one, is
Yeah,
fucking
not
awesome.
the Disney one.
Digging Up the Marrow is a cool movie he did too. It's weird and it has cool creatures created by an artist I dig. Um, and it's just really strange and out there. But like, thank you, Adam Green, for making horror movies for people who love horror. And check them out.
Yeah, I agree. I really think that he saw in the midst of the 2000s quagmire of just really questionable horror. I think he saw like, man, I think he just was like, I want what I like, and I know other people want
Right,
that too. So I'm just gonna fucking give the world that.
right. Can
But
we have
again,
something that's not torture porn?
yeah,
Because
Hmm.
or a
that's what
remake,
everything was,
or
or a remake. I'm not. I think I am a lot more forgiving about the 2000s. There are movies I like. I was more willing to dig, I guess, but
there's
I
great
definitely
ones,
get
but
your point of view. But
The Ring is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah, I love The
good
Ring.
movie.
I know
That
you hate
movie,
that movie, but
I
I
was
love
so
it.
disappointed in that movie because I saw it in the theater and I liked it. Although there's stuff about it I didn't like, but overall I liked it. I watched the original right after that, and I was like, oh, if you could take like the visuals of the remake and the attitude of the original and put them
mm,
together, I think it'd be perfect. But last year I tried to rewatch the Naomi Watts one, and I
Hmm.
just couldn't even make it 20 minutes in. I fucking
Jeez.
I don't know what changed. I don't know, but it's got a lot to do with my pessimism about 2000s horror and some of
Okay.
my favorite films. I mean, that was the decade that I became a full-blooded addict. Convent, Dog Soldiers, and May, just off the top of my head, three of my favorite fucking movies of all time, and
Hmm.
they're from like 2002. I think they're all from 2002. Um, there was some really great stuff, but there was just, we all know. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff that was.
Final Destination is one of my favorite series, and that's all in that time period.
Hmm.
I've never
So
seen
Those are
those.
fun.
you've never
They're fun.
seen those?
So I had a roommate, and he one time he was like, Final Destination. You want to see Final Destination? And he literally showed me every kill, and he's like, "That's the whole fucking movie. Don't ever waste your time with anything else because the rest of it sucks." So that's all
Uh-uh.
I've seen. I will
But
say the
they're
bus scene
fun.
was amazing.
They're like Rube Goldberg machines of death.
The
It's
first
great.
one is a genuinely good movie. It's really
Yes.
good.
Okay.
It is genuinely, genuinely good. The second one has the best uh uh what do they how do you what do you call them? Like the premonition scene, the truck with the logs.
Yeah.
If you have seen
Yeah.
that movie, I mean it's a fact. You don't ride behind trucks with logs
No,
on.
you don't.
But
Or
that thing
trucks
that
with
is so well done.
any
Part
anything sticking
three,
out of it.
yeah, part three has Mary oh my God, Mary Elizabeth
Oh,
Winstead. Is that
I
her
was just
name?
gonna say Mary Elizabeth. How I knew that that's
Yeah.
who you were gonna say, I don't know, but I knew
Yeah,
it.
and she's fantastic. The cast is pretty good in that one. Four is stupid, and five is good for reasons I won't say because I don't want
Okay.
to.
Well,
But
and that
yeah,
that's coming back this year, right? I don't know
it,
if it's a
I
sequel
think
or,
they're
but
calling it Bloodlines, or at least at one point they were.
oh, isn't that also
Bloodlines?
what they called the Pet Cemetery movie that
Yeah,
sucked?
and that was,
There's a
oh God,
Hellraiser
that was
Bloodlines too.
horrible.
Oh, there is a
Yeah, there is
Hellraiser.
a help. Oh, that's like a curse to,
Wow, maybe
to
it's
call
about
your
a
movie
cursed
something
sequel
Bloodlines.
name, right?
Yeah,
Where all the actors.
it is still called Bloodlines, and it says the plot is unknown, so we don't know what the premonition is.
Hmm.
Wow.
But yes, Pet
Hmm.
Cemetery Bloodlines was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. And I love the Pet Cemetery movies, and I went in with low expectations. But
Poor, poor David Duchovny. He deserves so much better than where he
He
is.
was in that.
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't see it, but
so
I know he's in
oh
it.
God, don't watch it.
He was also in
I
that.
wanted I
He was,
Is
wanted
it
my hour and a half back.
is it worse than the remake?
Yes.
Oh no.
he and that's saying something.
And
Although
that hurt.
I still think I hated that remake, but I still think at 86 minutes, I'm almost positive because I love Starry Eyes. I'm almost positive that those directors did not get final cut and that there's like 45 minutes of footage. And I know I'm always the one that says if you have to say you have to see the full, the longer version of the movie, then it's probably not a good movie. But an 86-minute adaptation, and especially like in the midst of them releasing the It movies, which are problematic, but they're okay. But they're both like, I think, over 2 hours. So I remember
They're at
thinking,
least 2 hours.
like, why did they cut this down so fucking short? And it literally, like, I mean, I feel like you get into that Pet Cemetery movie, and the minute they meet Lithgow, they turn around, the kid's dead. I'm like, what just happened? I've been here for 5 minutes, and we're already in the second act. Like, how? What?
I just
But
like
anyway.
structural changes. I did not like flipping the kids. I did not like that at all.
No, that was dumb. And you know why it was dumb? Because it was seriously just done to fuck with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I assume.
It reminded me so much.
Want to mess with the little kid, like acting.
No, I don't think that's what it was. I think it was to subvert expectations, but in such a dumb fucking way. It reminded me of I mean, I gave up on AMC's The Walking Dead long ago because I love the comics so much. I hate the show, but my girlfriend was into it, and when we first, like, shortly after we started dating, the Negan episode aired, and we watched it, and Negan doesn't kill the person in the comic book that he kills first. He kills somebody else, and I remember thinking, like, oh, and then he kills the you just did that. Like, it was so, like, okay, I see the writing. I can see the writer's room right now. I don't know. How do we get there? So anyway, so this is Slasher Party, and that's Hatchet 1 and 2. And please, for the love of fuck, go out and, like, so number one, you're gonna have to rent, or you could probably buy a DVD.
Well,
I don't know if people nowadays know what that is. That's a digital video disc.
They're all on Tubi for free too.
I always forget about Tubi because fuck ads, but yes, they're all on Tubi for free. 2 and 3 are included with Prime, and I was bummed to. Joe Bob did 4 like last year, the year before, and I watched it and I literally remember nothing about it. But apparently, Missy, you said that's no longer on either Shudder or AMC Plus, right?
But however, the Just Joe Bob for it still is. So if you're willing to, because I'll do that, I'll put the movie on my TV and the Just Joe Bob on my phone so I can toggle back and forth. But the Just Joe Bob is up on Shudder. I believe it was under season 7, episode 20.
Okay, damn.
Written it down, or did you know that off the top of your head?
I looked it up. No, I looked it up for him like shortly before we came on, because I told him before January rolled over, Victor Crowley was still on AMC, but it's not anymore.
I'm almost sure it was still on Shudder because I know I just saw it. Whatever. I mean,
but
I guess
the Just Joe Bob is, and they're easy enough to follow along with because they do give you the timestamps. I do it fairly often.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah, they do. They do that on the Patreon too. Although the Patreons become fantastic as far as like they really add a lot. There's a lot of full movies on there that I can't believe, like big Gremlins. I mean, just like Beetlejuice. I'm blanking, but there's tons of movies on there that, like, a couple of years ago when we signed up, it was really just the Joe Bob segments from the old school stuff, but now it's a lot of full movies. So, okay. But we will come back and do, sorry, puberty. We will come back and do Hatchet 3 and 4 soon. But until then, find these, watch them, love them. This is the Horror Vision. I'm Sean.
I'm Missy.
And thank you very much, Ivy. And I can't wait to have you back. I know we both can't wait to have you back to talk about the next 2.
Thank you. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Oh, and before I fucking forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not read Ivy's novels, so the new one, Mother Dear, you can go right now, and it's on Amazon. You can order it. I think it's like $12.
Something like that. They're also on Kindle Unlimited.
On Kindle Unlimited, I still have not read Maul, Maul Rats, but I've read the other 3, and I can say all of them are fantastic. I always suggest start with Tastes Like Candy. Tastes Like Candy has my favorite slasher death ever, and I just think that your books are fantastic.
That's possible.
No, I mean, come on, don't, like, that is like, I don't know. It involves a dunk tank. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't want to give it away to anyone that will read it, but please, when I introduced you as a slasher expert, I fucking meant it.
Yes, you did. And I thank you for that.
I meant it.
Yes, and thank you for saying all those kind things. I very appreciate it.
Always. So, okay, we'll be back soon.